Hello, hello. Sounds like maybe. There we go. Down. All right. Welcome anyone if you're here. Today I'm going to be working on some 3D stuff for Wilds of the Realmwalker. I'm kind of going to be testing some stuff, so we'll see if what I'm working on ends up being in the game or not. But I want to try something that I think could work, and I think it'll be something that'll be good to like replace the roof piece and like some of these other pieces without actually like replacing them. But like to lower the amount of polygons that we have and everything, at least for the stuff that I'm working on, because I know a lot of our other assets are low poly. I mean, this is all fairly low poly. This is all of our wood building materials that we use to build like whenever we're building our bed and breakfasts and stuff. But I'm gonna start working on a stone piece. My goal for today is to make a stone floor piece. But what I'm going to try to do, which is something that I learned in the last couple of months, is to make, where did that go? I just want to make a cube that only has what is it, 6 faces? That is the size of what I need it to be, so I'll scale that down to fit that size, and then I'll do all my modeling for stone floor, and then I'm going to take that model and use it to create basically a texture for just this, so that we only have 6 polygons instead of, how many is this? So this is 48, almost 4,900 polygons, which is a lot, especially for something low poly and for how small everything is on the screen, because we're usually not this close to this kind of stuff. But so I have an idea of how to make it less polygons, because the more polygons you have, obviously the slower your game runs, and we want to make sure our game is optimized as much as possible. So even just if we had one of each piece of the wood building, we're already at 24,000 polygons, which is a lot. And obviously for a basic house, you have 20 floors pieces, 10 to 15 to 20 wall pieces, 10 to 20 roof pieces, a door piece, a few windows. Like, you're looking at 100,000 polygons in just a basic building. I think that's too many, and I think it's causing slowdown issues. I don't think it's the main cause for slowdown issues, but I think it is not helping. So I'm going to be doing trying something different. So we'll see if that works. Let's see. If you're here, say hi. I'd love to know if anyone's watching. If not, I'm talking to myself, which is and right now I'm just making it the same size as our other build pieces, because all of our build pieces need to be the same size. So I want to make sure that I'm working within those constraints. And actually what I think I'm gonna do, nope, I don't want to I'm gonna save this as its own. What I kind of want to do. Let me do this. I'm gonna save this at the the side building piece. Is ref building piece size ref. I'm gonna save this under a new save, and then I'm gonna delete all of this and start fresh. A stone one. Save this stone building materials, not 1. Now I have a fresh slate. And then I'm going to clone that. We're going to call this stone or call it stone. Do building so we can reference our building materials all together, and then stone to narrow it down, and then 4 and mesh. Okay. So let's see, how do I want to do this? I need to make sure that it is not seamless, but like kind of, if that makes sense. Let me start with a cube. I'm just gonna kind of try to block out stone edge. Good. Problem is, I have to create like a border almost. Or no, that's figure it out. Let me adjust my microphone. Let me subdivision. I need to do and a 1. Okay, this, do that, maybe like that, and that should give enough to at least start. And then I'm just gonna kind of start pulling stuff around until I feel like it's more stone looking. First, here, then soft, and that should make it and play around with this stuff's kind of doing. Off to going for like a cobblestone-y type floor. Doesn't look too. Then if I like that, my only concern is this blank corner here. Is that gonna look weird, or should I try to like shove? We'll do like It's like mostly in the corner. And let's see. Pull this. And then what I'm gonna do, kind of thing like that. Turn off. Love it, but I think it'll look okay once I kind of get more going. Like the goal, so this is gonna look weird because it's gonna look very copy paste, but it's basically to do something kind of along the lines of like this, but like more scattered and like filling in a bit more, try and make it look more random and stuff like that. So I want to use, definitely just cloned a bunch of those on accident. And if I'll play around with that a bit, but I think this, rotate, and then actually before I do that, I'm gonna just undo everything so that I don't have that bevel in there, because I'll do all the beveling at the end. It'll make it easier for me to do all the main like shapes and then kind of go back and do smaller details at the end. I want to do stuff like that and try and get as little open area, but I'm not too worried about the open areas because it'll be like the grout. Like if you're doing like a tile floor, you fill it with grout. That'll be kind of what that is. But I don't want these pieces to be exactly the same. I'll probably make like 5 or 6 and then I'll kind of go from there and do, and then use those like 5 or 6 different shapes and kind of spin around and randomize them throughout this like whole panel. And who knows, I might feel like I need to make them bigger. Like this might be too small. Because I mean, we're going to be seeing this from like this far away. So I want to make sure things are noticeable. I might actually just make, ooh, not like that. And at the very end, what I'll do is I'll, like once I have my whole panel laid out, I'll like copy and paste it all around this to make sure there's not any like overlaps. Yes, too obvious of patterns. Like obviously there's going to be a pattern because it's going to be a repeating tile, but I want to try to make it look as good as possible. Like no super obvious edges kind of thing. Mess around just a little. Collection. Those are the same corner. This way. Here, a little bit. happy with that. And it's just gonna be a bunch of, so let's go a little bit bigger. I don't want to go too much smaller than that. Go bigger. Rotate to like some more randomness. Kind of this out. Next, put another. This is all just kind of going by look, just how I feel, you know? Grab the wrong edge. I want to make like two like sharp points that come together, because then I have to shove a rock in there that looks like a sharp point rock. Just don't want that. I want to try and make like a little triangle like this is okay. I think I might come back at the end and try and like some of those, but this is like getting close. But I can also put like a small rock in here to kind of fill that gap. And then take some this. And I think this is too close to this one to make it the same. So I'm gonna keep altering things, like moving points and edges around and stuff. Just I don't want it to be too noticeable that there's like the same rock twice. It's like pointy and soft. You notice like soft selection is this cool, like if I turn it off and I move this edge, it only moves this one edge. But if I turn on soft selection and I move this edge, it kind of moves, like depending, like, oops, I can adjust its radius. Like if I turn it all the way down, it's basically the same as it being off, but when I turn it up, it kind of moves everything with it. And there's like a fall off, so like you can see it's yellow here, so it's moving this stuff harshly, then the red stuff moving like soft, and then the black stuff it doesn't move at all. And then if it's, well, the black stuff it might move like very little, and then if it's blue like that, that means it won't move it. Like I could move as far as I want away and it will never move that blue stuff, but it helps like keep things uniform while still changing like the shape of the stuff. So far, I think I'm liking this. Kind of looks like a weird like dog paw 4-year-old would draw. Alright, if this is boring, I'm gonna keep going on this. This is the job of a 3D modeler. Put some music on in the background and I just hope you can hear it. I put it on low just so it's not like overpowering, but usually I'd put on like a movie or like a movie I've seen before, like I like to watch the Avengers movies, so I'll throw on those movies and I'll just like watch or listen to those while I'm doing work. or like a podcast or something on YouTube or music or something to just turn my brain off and just kind of do the thing. That one I can pull up. This is looking pretty good. I do want to put this over and I gotta be aware of the edge, because if I put two of, like, once this whole thing is done, if I put two of them next to each other, I don't want to have like a huge gap between the rocks. But obviously at the end I'll start putting them next to each other to test that out, see how it looks, and then I'll probably do some final adjustments, and then I'll go in and do like some secondary detail, adding like more 3D elements to these rocks so they're not so flat. But it is coming along. I feel like I need another big rock. Maybe I could right here. Pretty good. And again, I don't want it to look too much like any of the other rocks. Try to do some randomizing, and then maybe I'll throw a small one in here, like a small long one. Try and fill in that space. Like long. I guess I haven't done a long. That's be another one. Do that. And like, or that one already looks different just because I stretched it so much. I almost wonder. I'm happy with this one's throwing me off. Too pointy, which I can't actually. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna add an extra edge. Try and get rid of that pointiness a little bit. Pretty happy with how that one came out, even though I didn't spend like any time on it, which is nice. Ooh. Pull that space. This maybe out this one. Pull this one. Got it looking sharp. Okay, it's coming along. I feel like I still need to make new stuff. I can't quite copy and paste too much yet, but it is still early on in the process, and it's quick enough to kind of edit stuff. I don't want to fill that. Maybe I'll just this one here out a little bit. kind of what I was talking about before. I don't want to leave anything too long and skinny like that. Try to avoid turning into having a weirdly shaped rock. I guess a few weirdly shaped rocks. I'm gonna have this. I feel like that's not bad. My only concern is it do this. Well, I just want to make sure it looks different from rocks. Like if this rock matches a rock that's like way over here, I'm not worried about it, but these are still within the same like quarter. And obviously I'm looking at this way more than anyone else will probably look at this. How it is being an artist. You're looking at your work more than pretty much anyone else. Unless you make like the Mona Lisa, I guess. I'm sure there are people that have looked at the Mona Lisa more than Vincent van Gogh. Is that who made that? Probably screwed that up, and if anyone was watching, they would. But if like, and then I'm just shove it in here really quick. Edges. Got another sharp corner looking thing, so I'll tone that down a little bit. Obviously everything is a sharp corner just because it's like that's kind of low poly as you have sharp corners. I just don't want like points that look like someone took the stone and like chipped it down into a point like an arrowhead type thing. I'd rather have it kind of feel like they kind of put some of the big rocks in and then they found smaller rocks to fill in the gaps, and then like smaller rocks fill in like the little tiny gaps and stuff. And like they didn't like alter many rocks, they just kind of found rocks that kind of fit together, which is why I'm not too worried about like this kind of space, because I feel like a lot of, well, I guess video games is my main touchstone into like old-timey cobblestone roads, but like I feel like with the grout, like honestly all of these might just be like a lot lower to start, kind of like that, so there's like less tripping hazard, and then the 3D aspect will come out of it from there. But for now I'm going to keep them higher just because it's easier for me to see. This is coming along. It's already been 30 minutes, so I guess I'm not going to get as far as I thought I would today, but maybe I'll if I can, I'll hold off on this particular asset and finish it in like another stream that I do. Just so like that whole process is documented, and if you want to go back to our streams and watch it all, you can, and just see how I made some of the stuff in our game. Obviously I did not make all the stuff in our game. It's a lot, and cool is the thing that I'm doing, so it takes up a little time. but I don't know for sure, but I assume a lot of the art that we have in our game was made with a similar process. This click, this kind of needs to go out. I'm gonna make this a big one. This is like round. This might have to add, oops, need to do that. So I think this one just needed a little bit of extra jump. No? Question mark? I bet if I make it like a double intercut and then do something that and then this. I don't know. I feel like that's too like following the curve of this other one. Don't love it. I don't get close occasionally. Set my camera. I was getting a little. Spending a lot of. Make sure that things don't weird when I place these panels next. Let's turn this. Definitely not. Nope. Nope. I'm gonna turn this on for a bit. Okay. This here. Give it a spin. Scale it down. Don't play around with it. I'm actually happy with that. Sometimes I spend 5 minutes on a rock and sometimes I spend 20 seconds on it. How it goes. All just depends on how I'm feeling. Honestly, well, a little bit too close to. Kind of this. This. I'm gonna go with that. I want to make this. Whoops. But if I make it bigger, I almost need to fit like this. Good. I least might this edge pretty noticeable a little bit on something here. I think I'll have to scale down in. My camera. This gap, this edge, we got too far. This edge, but I think if I pull this one out, good. This one with soft. Multi. I'm not opposed to having something like this, like an indent of. As long, I think if there is an indent like that or something, a small rock should fill that slot. Just because it'll feel like you filled in that spot with a small rock and not a big rock to fill in the spot. If that makes sense. Don't like how sharp some. Ooh, I like that. Of course, perfectly like that. And kind of turns out that most of these rocks aren't just going to be duplicates. Look, that look. Same rock as this one, but it's rotated enough. Let's scale it. Let's see. I don't really want to scale down much. It'll be. I feel like that needs a lot of big rocks here. Just for variation. And who knows, this might look really weird in the game. But trying something. Because right now Chris set up our stone building materials as the wood ones that I was showing you at the beginning. Just with a gray texture instead of the wood texture. So I think having like this kind of flooring instead of just a bunch of stone like logs basically will be cool. Like we could make a stone floor and then have like wood walls and stuff. Eventually we'll make like stone walls and stuff. I don't know, a stone ceiling. I've definitely seen. Let me pull it. I was thinking about this week. Yeah. So like honestly, here, let me. Well, I'm sure you've seen our wood ceilings. They have like overlapping like wood slats, like a roof does. But there are modern like stone ceilings, which is cool. So I could just make a very similar roof that's made out of stone, but obviously a stone ceiling is very heavy. So it seems a little bit weird, but like this is kind of an option that I was thinking of because I'd seen this in the last like year, like a stone roof. I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. This is obviously like a very like modern version of like a stone roof, but it looks cool, and I'm sure I could come up with something that looks similar to fit our game a little bit better. And then eventually, like, we have wood building stuff, we'll have stone building stuff. Eventually it'll turn into like some sort of like more like magical type stuff. We'll have like mana steel, I think, or maybe like we'll have some metal building structures, and then some sort of like building structures. That would be kind of cool, but obviously that's further on in development. But yeah, for now we're gonna have the wood and the stone just because that's what's in there right now, and it should just be a quick like asset swap to get that stuff in there, and it should hopefully not do what the doors do and crash the game every time we pull a door out. Although being fixed, the wood door got fixed, but the stone door, as if you watched our stream on Sunday, that one got missed, and it crashed our game for whatever reason. Who knows? Chris probably knows because he's the one that fixed it with the wood door, so you can ask him. Make this fill this space without looking. This way I can kind of move it. I have too many edges over here, so I'm gonna try and use some of these edges. Like this edge wasn't doing anything before. The wasted edge. This is turning out. I like it. In this space. Big. Almost need to then just need to make sure this is not hanging. Oh, get it close like that. That's good. All right, this is coming along. Obviously, I'm not going to finish this time, but I'll finish laying out the stones at least before my next stream. That way, the next one will be like a continuation, but I'll like skip forward, so you don't have to watch me just make the other half of this for a whole stream, because that would obviously not be fun. But then I can kind of move on and kind of show you the rest of the process. And if I have time, I'll work on some of the other stone assets. So maybe next time you see me working on this, I might have like a stone wall or stone door or stone window or something. I mean, a wall would probably be what I do next, because then I can base the door and the window off of the wall. I don't really know what I'm going to do for that. I mean, I could just do what I did with the wood and take this whole thing and just, not like that, but like, yeah, that looks weird. That's like, that looks magical kind of, actually. Like if I don't want to just do something really quick. Because all the axis of each of these stones is like rotated in a different way. Until I group them together, when I rotate it, it like creates this like really cool like magical effect. Like as if like someone was using the force and like causing the stones to all like lift up, which is really cool. Stuff like this that like I'm picturing like we're going to have a Mammut building mechanic where like you put in a bunch of materials into like a spot, or like there's a broken down building, and Mammut has a set of gear that is like repair gear with like a crane and stuff like that to like repair broken buildings and stuff. And it'd be cool if like, obviously it's a stretch, but like having some sort of animation where like the pieces like kind of come together and like form like the walls and stuff. But obviously there's a lot of other stuff that needs to happen for that, so. But it's just random things like that that like make you think, like give you inspiration for other things. And like that's just something that I did on accident that maybe you'll see in our game someday. Just because I pressed the wrong buttons, basically. Fired animation. And that stuff happens all the time. And not just in like art, it's everywhere. I've been seeing TikToks lately of a guy that's like, he's explaining like how certain accidents kind of created important things. I can't think of any off the top of my head because it's been a little bit, but like you try something, it doesn't work, but then you might make something else or get inspired to make something else. Interesting. I want to put some small ones around here and then put a bigger one here. Like this one and this one look too similar. Why not? Kind of probably. This. They don't look the same at all. Do the corner piece. Something like this. Bigger. Ooh. If that's the case, that might be too obvious. I want to try to avoid like if there's like 10 of these things in a row, you see like one shape that looks out of place, and you'll just see that one shape 10 times in a row. I'm sure you've seen that in like older video games where like you'll tell it's a repeating pattern, but you'll see like one thing that like stands out, like a weird line that you might see through the texture, but then you see that weird line like 10 times in a row, and you're like, oh yeah, you can tell it's just repeating over and over again. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Alright. Kind of flat on one side, maybe. Something like that look cool. Just to like differentiate, because basically what's gonna happen, kind of show you. These are gonna butt up to each other, and I want to make sure that like this doesn't look weird, which right now that looks really good. And then like there'll be one, oops. And you'll, like at the very end, once I'm done placing all the tiles, I'll basically do this. It'll be more precise, but I'll do this and then I'll see like how everything lines up. And I'll try to make sure there's nothing like super obvious that like stands out and like makes it super noticeable repeating texture. But there's not much I can do. It is a repeating tile, so it's very hard to hide that. A lot of newer games will have like fairly basic textures, but then they'll scatter like pebbles and grass and flowers and all this sort of stuff on top to try and hide that repeating texture. Because if you just deleted all the foliage in a game and just had the base like floor texture, I'm sure a lot of games have just a lot of like repeating texture with like pathways cut out of them. But with all the trees and plants and ponds and dirt and mud and everything that they can put in the games nowadays, it's a lot easier to hide. Yeah. Let's see. I can. No. Literally on the other side of the piece. It might take a second to figure out, just because it's like I gotta fill in a gap. I feel like if I just do a bunch of small ones, it'll be really obvious. But I could put one like here. Maybe I'll do that. Grab both. Nope, I only want the one. Yeah, that. My only concern is this, right? And again, like I could be adding a ton of edges to these, but that kind of defeats the purpose of like a low poly type look, the style. But if my plan will work out, our floor pieces should only have this many polys, but still look like this. And I know it sounds confusing. It was very confusing for me at first. Which actually I could probably show you really quick. I have 5 minutes left, so maybe I'll try to show you kind of what I'm going for. It's really cool. Like I didn't know about this until kind of more recently. Must be here. It is. Sorry, this is kind of a tangent, but I figured it'd be kind of interesting for some people to see this. Not that anyone's watching, but I don't know, kind of cool. So this is like a very relatively low res jacket. I mean, you can kind of see like in the armpit, you can see like where all the polygons are. It's still a lot. I mean, it's more polygons than what I'm working on now. But like you can see some of like the kind of roughness. But if I turn off this 3D, so I have a very high resolution version of this that has like zippers and pockets and sewing points and stuff. which is what this like mesh that's on top is. Gotta make sure none of that is in there. Okay, so now you remember what it looked like before. If I hit bake, it starts to take all that high resolution detail and kind of create a texture based on like lighting and different aspects of the higher resolution model, and it like projects it onto the lower resolution model. And I know that makes absolutely no sense, but you'll see, bam. So there's no extra polygons here, but it added all of this extra detail that is strictly just like lighting, and like no, like all these wrinkles are not actually like polygons, they're not actually there. And like these pockets, like you can really tell if I like go to the side and like right, so you can see my, like here, like it definitely falls off. Like there's no actual depth to the pocket like on the model itself, but when I back away, it looks like there's full pockets, and like all of this texture is like not actually there. You can see this is flat right here. When I go like this and zoom out, it looks like there's just, it'll be kind of like that, but on our models. Sorry if that didn't make any sense, but I thought it might be kind of cool to show that. But yeah, so like theoretically this will be like my low resolution, and this will be my high resolution, and it'll attach all the shadows that you kind of see here and like fake it and make it kind of look like there's shadows and stuff on this square. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's kind of my goal. And that'll take this from like, already this is over 500 polygons, which is not much, but I'm also not done. So this will probably be over 1,000 polygons when I'm done with it. Actually, probably it'll be around 2,000, maybe more when I'm done. And all 2,000 of those polygons should work on this one that is 6 polygons. So big difference, because especially if we have 10 of these next to each other, that's 20,000 polygons just for a stone floor that doesn't need 20,000. I'm hoping that this technique will this technique will maybe help save frame rate. It'll up your frame rate, make making the online connection better because it has less to load, make the game run better in general. All right, thank you for watching, all 1 million of you that were there. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this. I will finish laying out these stones before I stream next, which will at least be 2 weeks. I think Chris is doing next week, but we're gonna plan that this weekend, and we'll figure out who's doing what Fridays. And maybe next time I stream, I can take this from here and I'll start with it all laid out, and then I'll add more detail to it, and then I'll do what I did with the jacket that I just showed you with this, and then we'll figure it out together. Hopefully it'll work. All right. Thank you. See you later.